everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is my first vlog since MCC, which was my latest race that happened 3 weeks ago at the time of filming, which is crazy because, I mean, it felt like such a big deal and it almost feels like it was yesterday, but at the same time it feels like it was literally like months ago. Anyway, it's great to be back vlogging, and today I'm going to be discussing how I felt at MCC and after MCC, the upcoming races that I've got coming up, and there are a lot and it's actually kind of terrifying, so I'll be discussing that, as well as my training for those races, the training that I'm doing at the moment in the wake of MCC but leading up to those races that I have coming up. And also I have a race later today as well, which is probably going to be a bit more of a plod. This is a big weekend of training. Yesterday I did 26 kilometers. I ran from here in Bristol to Bath along the railway path, which is now a cycle path. It's absolutely beautiful. It's only the second time I've ever done it. I did it in the other direction when I was training for Tokyo Marathon back in February 2019 as my longest run before the race, so it's 16 miles, and it was great to be able to do it and kind of prove to myself how much I've improved, how much more comfortable I feel running those sorts of distances, and that even though I feel remarkably unprepared for my coming up races, that actually that was the longest run that I'd done for Tokyo Marathon, and I just about managed to get around that okay. So fingers crossed all will be well for these ones that I have coming up. And today's race is part of a long kind of double run weekend, which I only do if I've got lots of very long races coming up, which I do. So to start with, I want to discuss how I feel after MCC. I was absolutely ecstatic with the race, and I stayed out in Chamonix for the week after the race as well, so I managed to get to kind of soak up that UTMB atmosphere. It is absolutely spectacular. If you haven't seen any videos or any photos or heard much about UTMB, it's essentially a massive trail running festival with 5 or 6 different races across the week, from MCC and PTL on the Monday all the way to UTMB on the Friday, which is the most famous race and one of the toughest ones there at 170, I think, kilometers. I stayed for the whole week. I got to enjoy all of that, got to support loads of the other runners, and it felt really good. I did a lot of hiking, I did a lot of cycling. I didn't do any more running when I was out there because I didn't want to overdo it, so I just was not at all thinking about getting back to running while I was still out there. After that, I headed nearby in the south of France and I got in one run when I was there, which was about 12 kilometers. More of a hike, really. We went into an amazing gorge, which was absolutely beautiful, but there was lots of vertical climbing, which is not really kind of running territory. So it was sort of a mixture of running and hiking and climbing and abseiling and like all that kind of stuff. Again, I think a lot of people try and rush back into running to kind of capitalize on their fitness after doing a really big race, and I've done that before and I burnt out. And so for this, I was very much of the attitude that there's enough time between that race and my next race, enough time for me to kind of take a step back, properly recover, and it does take some time to properly recover from a 40-kilometer race, especially a mountain one like MCC, and then get back to training and feel both physically and mentally refreshed, because I think you can kind of overdo it and end up losing the love and joy for running that a lot of us have when we are feeling at our best. I took loads of time out. I literally did like 2 runs the 2 weeks afterwards, very short, very slow, and then I did a 10k when I got back here, and this past week has been the first week back at training, first week kind of full on doing everything, doing my speed sessions, doing my long runs, doing my recovery runs, and it's felt really good. So I'm really happy that I took the time out after the race to kind of just chill. Very important. So I want to discuss my upcoming races. I've got them written down because they are quite a lot, and I know a lot of people have been wondering what the hell I have coming up, why I've been doing so much training, so I'm just going to discuss with you what those are. Today, this afternoon, I have a 10-kilometer trail run. Like I say, this isn't really a race, it's definitely not a PB opportunity, it's an undulatory forest race that is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it later, and I'm going to actually bring you along to the race with me, but it's essentially with Forestry Commission, Forestry England, who host a bunch of races around the UK. I think maybe it's just around England, maybe it's around the UK, not entirely sure, but that are in their forests that they own. Obviously beautiful, obviously trail runs, like what's not to love. They're only 5 and 10k races, so there's nothing like super long. It's not like Maverick or Endurance Life or anything like that. It's very much, I think, a kind of fun run, park run style race situation, but we'll find out later today. Maybe it's going to be super competitive and I'll just be like plodding along at the back. I'm fine either way. I'm just very excited to be able to go to a really beautiful place and soak up the atmosphere and enjoy it and all that kind of stuff. After today's race, I have 2 weeks until a big event that Tribe are hosting. Tribe it's actually a nutrition brand, but they host big events, one big event every year. They're doing Tribe Run for Love in May next year, and I'll talk about that in a second because that is like the ultimate race that I'm doing. That's in May 2022, and they host regular training events in the lead up to that, and in 2 weeks time is their second big training event, and it is 65 kilometers over the space of a weekend. So a big day on the Saturday up in the Lake District, and then a smaller day on the Sunday. I think it's like 13 miles on the Sunday, so I guess, yeah, like the 40 kilometers on the first day, yay! And that is obviously a really big weekend, and so I'm going to be taking it kind of very easy over that weekend because the week later I am doing London Marathon. And as we know, doing a 65 kilometer weekend of trail running up in the Lake District is probably not very good training the week before London Marathon, but London Marathon itself is also a training event for the race that I have on after that. So London Marathon is in 3 weeks time, and I'm just going to be going along and I'm going to be plodding my way around 40 kilometers on road. I'm not a huge fan of road races, not a huge fan of road running in general. I like to go fast, can't go fast for 40 kilometers, 42 kilometers, so they're slightly painful for me. I'm also extremely injury prone, and road running exacerbates all of my niggles. So I've got IT band syndrome, although actually that hasn't flared up in a really long time, thankfully. Touch wood. And I've also got irritated tibialis posterior, which is like the kind of foot cheek. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's like just under your ankle on the inside of your foot, and I have that flares up on both my feet when I do a lot of road running or a lot of speed sessions or interval training and that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But like I say, I'm just going there with a friend and I will be plodding around and having a generally very good time. So that's the goal, because 2.5 weeks after that, 5.5 weeks from now, I'm heading up to the Highlands of Scotland to a place called Knoydart, which is 5 hours on from Fort William across some water in the direction of kind of Skye. If you know your UK geography, you might know more than I do, but it is up on the west coast of Scotland in the middle of nowhere in the Scottish Highlands, and I'll be going there for a 125 kilometer 3-day event. I should probably say race, because it is a race. It really is a race. I'm entering it as part of a team of 2. I will be traveling there with my coach, Holly, to take part in this 125 kilometer race. Whew! It's intense. It's really intense. It will be the biggest challenge of my life. When I did Tribe Run for Love 3, I did 114, I think, kilometers over the space of 4 days. So this is 125 kilometers over the space of 3 days. So it's not vastly different, but it is on average a marathon a day with like 2,000 meters of elevation gain, maybe 1,900 meters of elevation gain. So it's obviously quite intense. On the plus side, it's very hilly and very boggy, which may not sound like a plus side, but it means that it's quite slow, which for me, I love hiking. It's going to be a lot of hiking and a little bit of running. So that kind of, for me, is a godsend. So all of these races that I've got coming up and all of the big events I've got, like for example, the Tribe Lake District event in 2 weeks, are very much about spending as much time on my feet as possible and just getting comfortable with being outside all day, eating while I'm moving, getting in the recovery afterwards, putting my feet up and then going again the next day. Like that's what all of this training is for, and that's kind of the end goal, is Knoydart in 5.5 weeks. Don't really have much else to say about that other than do check it out. They are also hosting the same event in April next year. So if you're looking for a kind of super intense but very, very fun sounding event, they're doing it in literally like half a year. So definitely worth checking out if you want to do that. And I will of course be vlogging the entire thing for you guys so that you can see what it's all about, see if you want to do that sort of thing. I think in October the weather is very much questionable up in the Highlands. So there's a good chance that it'll just be raining for the entire time, but I've seen some photos. It is beautiful. It's like this amazing nature reserve. Everything is very, very green. So I'm excited. Like the views are why I do running, and this place has incredible views. So I'm super excited. We do have to carry all of our kit, not all of our kit, most of our kit. So all of our food for the 3 days, all of our running kit, all of our clothes in general, except our sleeping bags, our sleeping mats, and a big jacket for in camp. So like camp clothes we can leave behind. We've got a 4.5 kilo capacity to leave behind at camp. Everything else will have to run with us. So it will be a little bit different from my usual 7-litre running pack. I'll likely be running with something more like a 15-litre running pack, and I will be talking a lot more about that as we move up to it. So that kind of brings me neatly onto my training, which I get asked a lot about, you know, what sort of training am I doing? And I just want to caveat with this training is very much specific to me and the races that I have coming up, which are not your standard, I mean, other than the marathon, they're not your standard marathon training, you know, fast road running sort of training, but I will talk through what I am doing week on week. This week is about a 55-kilometer week, which kind of makes me feel a little bit ill saying that because I'm not used to that sort of mileage, but I get it. I guess I better get used to it because I will be doing a lot more of it in the weeks coming up. I am doing 1 speed session a week, and I'm just going to talk you through what those speed sessions can look like. So it's either a speed session or a hill session because I have to get used to hills. I actually was literally just now sent those sorts of sessions by my coach, Holly. If you want to check her out, she's at Rush by Nature on Instagram. So she sent me those speed sessions. I am doing 1 speed session a week, and she sent me an option of 5 different kinds. So 1, hill sessions, and then she's given me like several different hill sessions. But for example, 6 by 60 second hill repeat, walk down to recovery, 2 minutes recovery, 5 by 45 second hill repeat, walk down to recovery, 2 minutes of recovery, 4 by 30 second hill repeats, walk down to recovery. So I've done something like that before. It's actually quite fun. If you don't mind hills, it's a really good session. It gets over and done with really quickly. And the benefit of hills is they're a lot easier on your joints as well. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck in terms of the time that you're out there, the distance that you actually do, in terms of the cardiovascular and strength gains that you make on hills. It's like really positive for kind of minimum amount of effort, even though it's hard and horrible. Second session option is tempo session, 1 mile warm up plus 6 by 10 strides. The session itself is 8 times 75 seconds fast, 45 second jog, then 3 minutes easy, and then 15 minutes at tempo pace. So I guess sprint, 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 get yourself tired, and then you do your 15 minutes at tempo pace. For me, that is 4:10, 4:15 per kilometer. For you, obviously, that will be different, more or less, whatever. I like that she just says fast. Kind of like leaves it up to you how fast you're feeling that day. I quite like doing things by effort because obviously if you've had a really big week, then an 8 out of 10 effort level will be at a much slower speed than if you feel really fresh, but you're still putting in the effort. So obviously at the end of a race, it's going to be a lot more effort to run a certain pace than at the beginning of a race, and you're not going to be able to hit the same paces as you would be able to at the beginning of a race. So you kind of need to get your head out of like looking for certain paces, unless of course you're doing a flat road marathon, you want to get a certain time. You got to get your head out of doing certain paces because it means that you get a little bit fixated on doing exact speeds, and that's not necessarily realistic when it comes to a very hilly trail run, boggy hilly trail run situation. Third session is another hill session, warm up, blah, blah, blah. 5 by 1 minute hills, then a 3 minute jog, and then 5 by 45 second hills, 3 minute jog, and then 3 by 30 second hills, then a jog. And then one final 3 minute hill. Where am I gonna find 3 minute hills around here? This is what I struggled with in MCC. We were going up for 3 hours, and I can barely find 3 minutes worth of a good hill around here, and I live in Bristol on a hill. So it's difficult to train this sort of stuff, but that's the whole point in hill repeats. You go and you go and you go and you go and you do it all over and over again for, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes maximum, but you do it a lot faster than obviously you would on a race day. Then a progressive session, it's 4th one, and then a speed session, which is my favorite kind of session. Okay. 3 by 6 minutes recovery, 3 minutes recovery. So I guess that's fast. 6 minutes fast, which for me would be like maybe 4:15, 4:20 or something. 90 seconds recovery, then 3 minutes, same pace, 90 seconds recovery with a 90-second recovery between sets. She says, just run these to feel. It's about 24 minutes of volume. So suggest between 5 and 10k pace. Okay, so that's more like 4 minutes to 4:15. per kilometre. It feels horrible thinking of these things and actually saying them out loud. It feels like I just won't be able to do it. So actually when I go to these sessions, I tend not to kind of overthink them, don't even look at them quite often until I actually get up to the track. And then I'm like, okay, well, I might as well give it a go for the first, 3 sets out of 6 or something. If I feel horrible after that point, I'll try and do one more. If I still feel horrible, you know, I'll give the next one a go. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. You know, at least you tried, at least you showed up, at least you gave it a go. And that's my general attitude for these. So I don't always necessarily hit the paces, but I will always get the session done. Whereas previously, if I was feeling tired and I knew I wasn't on my best form, I might not actually show up to training because I didn't want to fail, quote unquote, the session. And I think that's a big attitude shift that I've had between kind of trying to run the perfect training regime versus like just the best that you can manage. And that's definitely helped me. So that's it. That was how I felt after MCC, my upcoming races and like big weekends. I think when most people say like a big weekend, they mean like clubbing and stuff. And for me, it's like running 65 kilometers. So yay. That's all my training and the race I've got later today, which I will be bringing you along to and heading to in a few hours. So I've just arrived at Westonbirt Arboretum, just doing my warm-up run in the not pretty bit. About to start the race in about 10 minutes and feeling very nervous for no good reason. Very treey around here and I see lots of runners around. I think I'm really late, but there are lots of people, so all good. Hopefully it'll be fine. So Holly's asked me to do an extended warm-up today to get in more than 10 kilometers, but obviously I arrived so late that I'm not going to be able to do that, so just trying to get in like kilometer warm-up, get the legs moving after the drive, and then I'll head to the start and then maybe continue running at the end. Probably not, but you know, we'll see. I'll give it a go. Alrighty, we are off. Just gone into the proper tree bit of the Arboretum. Don't really know what pace I'm going, don't really care. Just gonna trot round 1 kilometer in. Woo! nearly 5k in. My heart rate's way too high for the pace that I'm going. It's like mid 180s, late 180s, but I'm having fun. That's the important thing. And it's beautiful. Have a look.
First and second athletes in the women's 10k directly in front of me. One of them making sure she absolutely records the victory, camera in hand, coming in to take the victory in the women's race, in the women's 10k. Fantastic work there.
Well done, if you want to go that way.
In to take the victory in the women's race, in the women's 10k. Fantastic work there.
Of course.
Flora Beverley there takes the honours.
You only went and bloody won it, didn't you?
In 44.46, and
Typical.
our second placed athlete is now coming towards us in the women's race. I can see athlete number 3, I think, just ahead of me as well. Second place goes to Charlotte Summons in second place in the ladies' race.
Oh, she can't quite get to you. She wants a medal.
So, I accidentally came first woman, completely unexpectedly, very delighted. I think the time was 44 something, which is only like a minute off my personal best, so I don't know what's happening, but it's all good. And I get a prize, so a good day all round. Doggo. Hi baby. Hello. He's my biggest cheerleader. Hello. So a 12-year-old came first in the 5K in a time of 18:20 something. Incredible, absolutely incredible. If only I could go back in time.
Your winner in 44.46. Give it up for Flora Beverley.
Well done,
First female. And another vlog.
No
Very
surprises.
exciting.
Someone's very excited.
Are you happy for me? I think you are. Baby. Well
Our
done,
thanks
you.
to our headline
She just wants
sponsor,
your prize.
Merrill. They'll be
can't have it, she'll
represented
eat
at each of the forest.
We are in the car on the way home. I feel really good after that. It might just be adrenaline, but I actually feel like it wasn't overexerting myself, even if it was a little bit faster than I was supposed to be going. But I feel very pleased with it, and I'm just gonna go and grab a pizza now because I'm super hungry. I think this combination of yesterday plus today and race nerves and all that kind of stuff is making me extremely hungry. So we're going off to get pizza. It's 6 p.m. at the moment, and that is it for today, really. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. What do I have coming up? Various training sessions, lots of races. I will obviously be bringing you along to the more beautiful of those so that you get the more fun stuff rather than just me going around in a circle like 12 times. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. As I said, loads more cool content coming your way, and I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Bye.